Hello, YouTube. Reseller Mom here. Welcome to tonight's video. I am here with Pat Dees, who is another reseller in the community, to talk about Amazon goals for 2021. I want to welcome Pat and give him the floor to kind of introduce himself and say what he's about.
Hey, Lucy. Thank you for having me on. If you guys know who watch, Lucy was on my channel about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we talked about basically reselling. And I sell currently on Amazon and eBay, but I've been on eBay since 1998, and I've been doing Amazon for the last 2 years. So, nice. Yeah, those are the two platforms that I right now I'm selling probably 90% of my stuff on Amazon. But we are doing some setting up downstairs here in our finished basement. So we're going to be doing, I really got to get on the ball and get in my eBay store up too.
Yes, and I wanted to link your channel so that everybody can go and subscribe to you. I also have it down in the description below. So you have a YouTube channel, and then I mainly see you over on Instagram. So I'm going to put your
Instagram, I'm still learning how to do it. Wade Ventures, that I'm friends with, he got me to go on there and trying to get him to kind of link to both one another. What I try to do is that if people are, I try to keep my Facebook separate for my family and really other content creators or people that I know locally. And then viewers that want to follow me, I try to say, hey, follow me over on Instagram and over there, just to kind of keep it, separate and straight. So I know who I'm talking to and dealing with, and, things like that.
I do the same thing. I do have a Reseller Mom page over on Facebook, but my Facebook is mostly like where I would post some kid pictures or, funny things going on or whatever.
Right. Well, that's the thing too.
Really business.
Yeah, I've been established on Facebook probably. An employee actually got me on there about 18 years ago. And, you got 18 years pictures of your kids. And sometimes I'm just a little hesitant to how much I want to share out there with the world, with the kids, just because sometimes people can be a little cynical.
Yes, there is that. And Facebook to me is like, good evening, Land Shark Picker. I don't know how he's on the right. I don't know how to switch that. It's probably how I add to the stream on StreamYard.
No, just tell him to stand on his head and look at the opposite way.
There you go.
That's Craig. Me and him are friends.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Facebook, I mainly keep in contact with old people that I've worked with. And since I've had a lot of employees in my life, I don't know if I necessarily they don't care about reselling and all of that stuff.
That's the frustration, honestly, I have, Lucy, is that I put up my links sometimes on my YouTube, on my Facebook, and I can't get no traction from friends and family. They just don't get it. They don't understand what we're doing, and when they do kind of dig into it a little bit, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," but you just can't. I don't know, and it's frustrating because honestly, it doesn't cost nothing to watch, even if it's 5 minutes, and sometimes I think the issue of hitting the thumbs up and leaving a comment on a video, the subscribe, I think people think maybe they got to pay for a subscription or maybe give too much information out. I don't know. Sometimes it's frustrating because I wish if I had, I have probably 600 people on Instagram. I have probably 600 people on Facebook and probably 500 or 600 on Instagram, and my subscriber base on YouTube would go up 20 or 30% if just those people follow me from Facebook, but they just don't.
No, and that's okay. Like a lot of the people I know on Facebook, I honestly they're not they don't have the mindset for this game, and they're not going to get it, and that's okay. That's
right.
That's not their thing. I noticed a huge difference when you're working with somebody at a regular job versus other resellers out there. The resellers that I meet, and yourself included, are very self-motivated. They're entrepreneur. They're wanting to learn. They're always making themselves better. They're always, reading books or learning something or growing something or looking at their numbers. And honestly, some of the Facebook friends I have out there, they're fine and happy where they're at, and they have no aspirations to do anything else. And they
Right.
tend to complain a lot. So they're not cut out for
It's a
this
different
type of work.
mindset. It's a different mindset as far as that. And I come from a business background
Mm-hmm.
because I used to be in the restaurant business, and I even had a handyman business that I did on the side and stuff like that. So I've always had that entrepreneurship in me. And so I guess when we're trying to promote ourselves on all other social media, we're doing work. But one thing with me is, and even when I had my own business, this is 24/7, 365.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember thinking, am I going to get any sales on Amazon? I don't know if I had any sales the first year, but this past year I did. And I was like so proud because I think I did like $400 on Christmas Day and doing, Amazon, where even at the restaurant, we would close always on Christmas, but my business in a sense was still open on Amazon, and it was nice. There was a couple things I had to package, but the way I think Christmas fell this year was it on a Friday, so I didn't really have to send the stuff out until Monday.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to bring you on and let you discuss your channel and also your backstory, and then we wanted to talk about goals for 2021. So I'm interested in all three of those. Do you want to start with maybe your background?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is that Christmas wrap back there?
Yeah, those are IKEA, like the grocery sack little holders. You put them on the wall, and I organize my Christmas wrap in the corner there.
I wasn't sure if we were looking at a fake.
I don't have a snazzy background like you do.
I put this up because I have that other channel, Money Me, that I do. Where on that channel, when I got on YouTube, actually 2 years ago, I wasn't sure. I wasn't even sure. Honestly, I just got on YouTube to network and see what I could do as far as the reselling community, and I came across Scott, the bearded picker, and he was really the first one. There was a young lady that named Destiny Shamrock Pixie. She was live one night, and I said, "Oh, can I come on?" Because I wanted to know. They were again talking about not family and friends. Like, hey, call them in the middle of the night, 11 o'clock. Hey, I'm going to send you this link. You want to go on and talk? I didn't know nothing how it worked, and I remember asking her, hey, could I come on and talk? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand what was going. I was getting the feedback. Didn't realize that you have to mute your YouTube while the others. Back then we were using Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
And it took me probably 10 minutes, and she wasn't that good at explaining what to do. She's like, mute. Well, if I mute, how am I going to hear her? How are you going to hear me? Not realizing that it was a separate feed and stuff like that. So anyways, then probably about 3 weeks later, I got on Scott the Bearded Pickers because I am a breast cancer survivor, and I had been going through surgery and treatment and stuff. And he had posted something on his YouTube page that his wife had it. So when I had typed in eBay and breast cancer, it came up Scott the Bearded Picker. So he had asked me, he says, hey, do you mind? It's rare in guys. It's only 2% of all cases in the world, or just, it's like about 2,500 people, guys a year that get it, where, it's a lot more obviously in women. And he goes, would you want to come on and talk about it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come on. And, then I was listening to them and got, talking about reselling. And I had been doing eBay, but it was part-time because when I used to be in the restaurant business, and one of the reasons I had to close the restaurant was because of the cancer. And at the same time, competition was just, heating up, and I just couldn't carry the place no more with going through all that treatment and stuff. But I knew I still needed to make money. But I was like, what am I going to do? Because I couldn't get, the minute that I tried to get a job, if I said to them, well, I'm going to need more surgery in 6 months, they didn't want the hassle, or to take the time off, or they just didn't want to deal with issues. They just want to hire people, do your job, keep your mouth shut, and that's it. And I was like, how much stuff can I really, honestly, if you have a job and you're making, let's say $10 an hour and you're making $400 a week, I didn't know if I could sell $400 worth a week worth of stuff, to make it worthwhile. And then, I started listening to Scott more, and he welcomed me to come on the show. And I was probably up to about 150 subscribers. And he said to me, hey, Pat, you got to kind of go out on your own and do your own show. He goes, that's how you're going to get people to want to follow you. He goes, you're really not going to gain much being on my show. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm just kind of feeling it out and talking to people how to do this and this and that. And, so I started doing, my own show and different things. And the problem with doing YouTube, it's actually harder than being a reseller, because where do you fall in a certain niche on your channel? Now, I'm a reseller, but I feature things like I in a sense, I try to be, my channel is mostly about me and my life as a reseller. So like if I stop at a museum or like on the way in between picking and stuff, I may feature that and, do those things. So it's kind of, I'm like, I used to, in the beginning, I was playing records and talking about stock, but you can't be monetized playing records. Mm-hmm. And not many resellers really want to talk about the market. They just don't understand it enough. So that's why then I did that other channel.
I think both are very good niches, but maybe not everybody is going to cross over to one to the other.
Well, and I think what happens is YouTube, and as I've learned YouTube really the last year more so, I hit my 1,000 subs in 6 months, and I was at 9/11. It was funny because I can remember I was at 9/11 on the day that my youngest son graduated, and Craig, Kimmy, Todd, there was about 5 resellers, Anita Fanita, they all that day did like a half an hour show, mm-hmm. promoting me to get over 1,000. And when I came home after graduation, I think I had to hit 1,040 or something like that. So, and I held it. I held it, and I got monetized. I was able to go live from my cell phone, because prior to that, probably about 3 months prior to that, you could go live from your cell phone. But I wanted to be, Pat Dees, the traveling picker, and I sort of wanted a channel that was a cross between American Pickers and David Letterman. David Letterman would have fun, have guests, talk to them. The guests would come on and promote what they were, movie or book they were doing, or what they did in life. And then the American Picker side would be traveling, meet interesting people, and find things to resell. Now, not this past year, but the year prior, then I went down to Nashville. I've been back and forth to Florida already too, and I went for a meetup. Scott and Phil arranged a meetup in Nashville, Tennessee. He lives in Alabama. I think he only lives maybe an hour, 2 hours away or something like that from Nashville. And there was probably about 30, 40 of us that met up down there. That all I drove the furthest. I drove 15 and a half hours from I live here in Pennsylvania, and we were down there for like 2 days. And then I traveled up and I met with some resellers in different states. So I have 12 states in that week's time. And I stopped at estate sales along the way and picked. But Amazon was still in the back burner though, because I didn't still fully understand it. And, the third party seller. And I also didn't understand, when you first, how it is when you first get it, you're gated. And then you get frustrated because you can't find stuff, and then it takes a certain amount of capital to to do it and be willing to do it, and and then last year, and for many, COVID was a opportunity of a lifetime for many people, many businesses, not just reselling, that they were able to step up and do something at that time that people want it, and their business grew. And for me, I went from doing $8,500 on Amazon in 2019, and I was doing roughly about 20,000 on eBay. So I went from doing 8,500 on Amazon to doing over almost 210,000 last year on Amazon. So I had tremendous growth, and a lot of it was because when it shut down, I was doing a service called Instacart, where I would do the grocery delivery, and you're familiar with that, as we talked when you were on my show last time. And I was seeing that there was a need for certain things, and I would see like the news, they can't find this, they can't find that, And since I was going around the stores and I was seeing a need, and I stopped doing Instacart as much because there was more money in reselling and sending stuff to Amazon. But man, it was crazy. I mean, I did in 1 week $18,000. Now think about that. In 7 days, I did 18,000. When the year before, in 12 months, I did 8,500. And
it's a big difference.
Yeah, and 95% of that was merchant fulfilled. That was a big difference.
Yes, that is a huge jump. And I had kind of similar findings in this last spring when COVID hit, and you couldn't send into Amazon. Overnight, I switched from FBA to FBM and just sat down and figured out what I was going to do and ordered some shipping supplies and changed my whole business model. And because I think everybody was kind of slapped in the face with this, some jobs more than others, but oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Okay, I need to pivot and start doing something different. And it was immediate. I said, okay, tomorrow I start FBM, and boom, that's it. That's what we're doing. And I did Instacart too for a couple of weeks, but found more of kind of the same thing. I could go to the stores and get the items that people weren't getting, which was Easter candy mostly at the time, and bring home, put it on Amazon, sell it in the next couple of days, ship it out. And that's how I survived.
It was funny that you mentioned Easter candy. Now, I don't think I sold, I remember a friend saying to me, well, Pat, when this is over, how are you going to be able to continue to do this just selling puzzles and yeast? And I said to the guy, I said, puzzles and yeast? I said, honestly, I heard about yeast too late. So I only sold maybe $100 worth of yeast, and I only sold maybe $200 worth of puzzles. And I heard that probably 2.5, 3 months into it, that I was like, okay, I'll buy it and try it, and sold some. For me, the strong part, and that's what was amazing, was if you were in a certain niche, there was other things that you could sell too, but my focus really was on hair products. I bet you in 9 weeks, 40% of what I sold was hair products. Women want to color their hair.
It's all on what you can find and what's available to you. I was swimming in Easter chocolates because that's what I saw out there. But I bet you I could have found 3 more things that I could have sold, but it becomes a time game then. Wake up, go to the stores, get as much as you can, ship out what you can, and rinse and repeat.
Right. And I was a little bit narrow focused, honestly, because it all started out selling some hair products because another reseller had mentioned something about, what happened was he had mentioned something around Christmas, selling this. If you find this one, it's rare. It sells on eBay for like, $12. You could pick them up for $5. And I was like, oh, okay. Guess what I did? I went out and bought a case, sat with them for 2 months and didn't sell. Guess what happened? When COVID happened, those were selling for $23, $25. And I sold them within a day.
Yep.
And I said, oh, I got to get out. And I'm in a store, so I scan throat lozenges that had zinc in them.
Yep. And
all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I could buy these for $5 and sell them for $15. That included shipping. Yep. And I was like, but after fees, I was making basically 100%, not quite, maybe about 85%. And some of this stuff, no lie, Lucy, as quick as I listed it, I could drive out of that parking lot sometimes, and it would be sold out. Mm-hmm. And some people were buying multiples. And another thing that I was narrow-minded about, because I was trying to stay focused on like 1 or 2 store chains, and all of a sudden I would be like, oh, I wonder if the Giant has that. And then all of a sudden I'd go over there, and I became better in finding things that they were at more locations. Mm-hmm. And all the same item, but I kind of figured out that 3 or 4 different and I started mapping it then, that if I would go out for a 12-hour day, that I was trying to really be efficient, because in all honesty, if you're going to make $100, let's say, profit in a day, that's really not a lot. If you're putting a 10-hour, that's $10 an hour. So I really wanted to make sure that when I was out there, I was buying, like, I remember April 15th, that weekend. That week I did 18,000. I did $10,000 over one weekend. And when I was out there chasing for the stuff that I could find, and it was nice because if they didn't have it at the one, then I might have found like 3 blocks away at like a grocery store chain that carried it.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference in the beginning was I was a little bit scared money because I was going in there and I would see 10, and I would only buy 5 or 6 until it started really selling out. And I was trying to really be conscientious that because there was some people, I didn't want to kind of come across as that I was wiping out the aisle or being greedy.
Mm-hmm.
I felt what I was doing was, and as I was hearing stories of like people in Chicago couldn't find, I felt like I was able to find stuff in the suburbs that wasn't selling, and just basically shifting it to cities or other locations that they couldn't get it because their population was higher and the demand wasn't there here. There was times that I would I would buy something 5 or 6, and I could go back there 2 days later and buy another 6 or 7 because they had it and it didn't sell. And so it wasn't like I was being greedy and wiping out the shelf on that, but and it was not, Dollar General was one of the chains that I was going to, and I had found about 3 products there that was a steady seller and was doing. I wish I could do that all the time, to be honest. That month was busy.
We were definitely helpful in redistributing the inventory that was in America, for sure, because there were certain things that I couldn't find in my area that I have to buy online, and vice versa. There were certain things in my area that other people couldn't get to or didn't have or whatnot that I was selling. So it worked out. Hello, Jennifer. Good evening. Welcome to the show. So when you were out shopping, and even this last year with the cancer, are you completely out of the woods with that, or is that still a worry?
Well, my last surgery, or not my last, my first surgery, when they removed my left breast, I had a full mastectomy. They did that. It'll be in about a month, 5 years ago. But I had some complications, and I had 4 surgeries, and then in about another 5 months, it will be 5 years that I did the 41 rounds of radiation. So I'm on tamoxifen. So I have about another 4 or 5 months that, that's when technically you could say you've been 5 years cancer free. But my surgeries were stretched out over 2 years. And, I go every 6 months. Like I have an appointment next week. I go back. So I'm fine. And I'm free of cancer and stuff like that. But, it's always going to be an issue because I had it on that side where my heart is, that I'm, as a result of some of that radiation, I have a weak heart muscle. So they say I'm not supposed to lift more than 35 pounds throughout the day. Can I lift 35 pounds? Yeah, of course I can, but I can't be doing it for 8 hours repetitive. Like I actually worked prior to this, one summer after I would leave the restaurant 8 o'clock at night, I worked at an Amazon warehouse.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I worked the warehouse was 15 miles away from me. I live in the Poconos, and this was a Goldsboro warehouse. We were supposed to pick 240 items an hour. I was picking 260. I worked there one whole summer, and I saved the money for a trip to Florida for Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And I asked them, could I go part-time? They said, no, we just don't have part-time. We don't do part-time. But right. You worked for the money. I mean, it was funny because that's when I realized how people were, and I couldn't believe that somebody would pay $22 for a case of water, because we could see the invoice, and it was, and then I thought about it. I said, wow, 20, because that location would primarily deliver to New Jersey, Manhattan, and New York, that area, and I was like, $22 for a case of water. Okay, a normal case of water is traditionally $5 to $10, but I think imagine living in an apartment building in Manhattan, 10 stories up. You got to go down. You may have to take a cab. You may have to take the subway, or you may have to walk 4 blocks. Carry that. They're just paying for, and that's what I felt I was doing when I felt like I was basically, being the personal shopper to people that didn't want to leave the house. I wasn't trying to sell things to gouge, because when you're a reseller, sometimes people be like, anybody that's selling stuff this time, they ought to be, there was a lot of bad press. Like if you bought a bottle of soap for $5 and you sold it for $10, or people are you're a crook, you're doing something wrong, and we're doing the same thing that they just always assume. If every place had the same price, there would be no competition. Because I was getting that sometimes. I can go to Walmart. Like I was selling like a bottle of soap, $12 delivered. It was a big industrial bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only making $2 on it, but people would say, "Oh, I can go to Walmart and buy this for $7." And I said, "Sir or ma'am, like you're not including the shipping plus the fee that I have to give Amazon." Mm-hmm. And I had to get over that and just hey Pat, just keep doing it. You're providing a service. You're doing something that people can't get out, and that that's what you're doing. You can't worry about it.
I still see some people commenting in the last couple of months about, oh, this is too expensive and this is, from Walmart or whatnot. And you're right. I mean, if it were, then don't buy it. Amazon is a premium service. And if you don't want to pay that premium for that delivery, then don't do it. I bought a new can opener yesterday, and I'm looking at this can opener. It's the one I want. And I know it's at TJ Maxx or something for maybe $8.99, and I'm paying $13 to get it the next day because I can't go out shopping for 5 days to get it. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find it once I'm out shopping. So I'm going to pay the extra couple of bucks. I get the item. It comes to me exactly when I want it. The service is superb with Amazon. You have that guarantee. If it's broken or lost or damaged, you're covered. You have that security of ordering it. And that's what you're paying up for. And that's okay. That saves me a trip to the store. You think about the time and the gas involved to go to the store for one can opener. Unless if I'm already going out and doing it, then it's not worth it monetarily and physically and time-wise to go out and get that. So you look at all of those things and you just got to ignore those other people on there, and they have nothing better to do with their lives than to sit there and troll and be nasty. And I don't know how they have so much time on their hands to go through and comment things like that. If you don't like it,
I'm talking about even sometimes, you'll get a customer that says, "Oh, I'm going to send it back." And our policy is with FBM, if you send it back, you're paying for it to come back. Mm-hmm. And we legally can deduct 20% if it's not open. And I mean, I've had people like want to return a $15 item. And you're making, let's say, $4 off that, and they send that back, it's fine. I mean, you're not gonna make nothing. Plus, Amazon is gonna charge you fees and stuff. So I try to be like upfront and let them know that, like, hey, that's the only thing I don't like about FBA is that, man, I know they're all about the customer, but sometimes people know how to abuse it.
Oh, they do. They do.
And they'll get something and 2 months into it, like, nah, it didn't fit right, or I sold a toy, and the customer returned it, opened, not even with the package. It didn't do what I thought it was going to do. I'm like, it's a toy. That's the only, and you can't be obviously blunt with some people, because then, Amazon's going to come down on you that, that's not good customer service. So you just got to be like, sorry about that. This is that. And
I look at it this way, like, yes, those customers, of course, piss me off just as much as the next person. But if I owned a brick and mortar, it'd be no different than when people go in there and put things in their pockets and leave. I mean, it happens all the time. I witnessed 2 robberies at Walgreens while I was out shopping during Q4. People just fill up bags and walk right out the store.
I used to be a loss prevention officer for Kohl's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of things, and I know the policies of a lot of these stores that, and a lot of the stores, their hands are tied. There's not much they can do because of, lawsuits and, things like that, or the threat of violence, just because people are nuts nowadays. The thing is, it's tough though, because you get, and I tell you, I have a lot more respect for Walmart in their return policy now than I had before, because, I used to think, oh, they should, let's say I return a broken toy. Oh, they ain't sending that one toy back to China. That would cost too much. That either goes in a garbage pile or it goes on a pallet somewhere where they're selling to somebody for $1 or $2, selling their pallets and stuff. Unless it's really, it's not been open at all, then they could throw it back on the shelf. But anything that really is broken or looks like it's open, that Walmart's eating it. But the difference is they are a multi-billion-dollar company, and they can afford to eat 2 to 3% of that. Where us, being, I've had to grown to accept it. Trust me, with the ordeal this past Christmas with USPS missing packages, I've had to eat several $100s worth of, A to Z claims because they've given money back. And then 3 days later, the people got their stuff, but it's too late. I'm out the money. Percentage wise, based on the sales, it's not that much. So I know as you scale up, that's part of doing business. And I don't mind. Like I had somebody, I said something wrong the other day, and they said they wanted it. And it was one of those situations where I did retail arbitrage, where a store closed because they were moving and they didn't want to take certain SKUs they weren't carrying no more. So I got a lot of twosies, and I must have sent the wrong. I did. I just gave them their money back, and I couldn't even supply them the new one because we didn't have it, because I only had gotten 2 of, and the price that if I had to go out right now and pay full retail for it, I would lose money. The reason that it was such a good price for me to sell it to the customer was getting it 75 or 90% off, because the store doesn't want to take it with them when they're moving and it's still in code,
Yeah. And every job is going to have negative things to it. Every single one. There is no job that's perfect out there. Right. So, the loss on shipping and jerk customers is really not that much. If you're thinking about starting this business or whatnot, a lot of people are turned off by that because they hear some of these stories. But the reality is they're small. They're not that bad.
Right. For me, for the whole year at roughly 210, the returns and write-offs like that is probably $800.
Yeah.
So, you're talking roughly 0.5%, 0.75%. And it wouldn't even been that much if the U.S. Postal Service didn't have their fiasco in December. And I still think on a couple of them I could file claims. The problem is I'm trying to use the tracking number that I got through Amazon, and I can't get the number to work on. It'll show up as tracking and that they took it, but the minute you try to follow a claim on it, you can't get the tracking number to work.
I always used a snippet. So when you have the tracking number, how you click on the tracking number and it drops down into a box and it shows you all the things. I just take my snippet and I snippet that display and attach it to the case as a whatever PDF or something. And I'm like, you can see, here's the tracking.
Well, what happened was when you go to file a claim, you go to USPS.com. It says you have to have an account.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, now did you do it through UPick?
No, I was thinking you were doing the A to Z claim on Amazon side.
What it was in all honesty, with probably the 30. I went almost 2 years with only like 3 claims, and I had no issues. And I probably had 35 in the month of December. And I would say probably about 70, they gave all their money back. Of course, they're gonna. And probably about half of them, they sided with the customer, but they didn't count it against me. And they in a sense gave the money from their end. So only half those I would need to file a claim with. So basically what you do is you highlight that blue tracking number, and you backspace it, and if you put that on USPS.com's tracking, you could see it says okay, delivered or en route. But try to take that same tracking number to file a claim, bad tracking number. I'm like, oh boy, and you only got like 60 days to file the claim. So it's kind of like, come on, cut me a break. What I should do is I wish I could do a spreadsheet, and I think that. And at the end of the day, it might only be $125, $150, but it's $125, $150, and and just put it on an Excel spreadsheet and get it in. Because I've only ever had in my life, honestly, probably, they've paid me $150 in 20 years. So I'm not like one of those people that look for free money from the Postal Service.
You might be able to go down and ask them what, something in the system. My people down at my poster been there for years, so they're really nice and helpful and tell me all sorts of interesting things when I'm down there.
Yeah.
Craig has a question here. Compare your volume during the time you had larger numbers of returns to when you didn't. Did you have more orders during that time? For myself, I have had, out of Q4, my return rates have been pretty similar. It was just during the Q4 when the postal backup was backed up that there was a huge problem. Yeah, we're talking about Amazon returns for the most part. That's what he was talking about with the A to Z claims and the ones that weren't covered or didn't get covered, but the tracking was all over the place.
Craig actually works for Amazon right now.
Oh,
yeah, but I think he doesn't work at the warehouse. He works on the customer service, and I think he's doing everything remote now from the house. So he gets like maybe I misquote, but I think he says he gets like 60, 70 calls a day. And so he handles a lot of customer issues as far as, dealing with those type of things.
Oh, he's telling you to be quiet. Maybe we should not talk about that.
No, we'll talk about it because he likes to bust my stones all the time. So,
so for this next year, what are your goals for 2021?
Well, in all honesty, I mean, I know last January and February, for example, I only did $1,000 a month. And then March, when it took over, I mean, that's when I did like $30,000. And then I did for up till July, because when things started opening back normal in June, I started seeing the drop, because we weren't in demand as much. Mm-hmm. And then July, August was slow for me. I mean, I went back, I went from averaging 30,000 a month to doing 3,000 a month. And then September and October was probably 7,000, 8,000. I was kind of really struggling to find things and get motivated. But I was kind of enjoying the summer and doing some of the flea markets, getting out there and doing a couple storage units, and then I knew that I'd have to be ready for. Now I had a good November and December. December I did about 25,000. And so last year doing roughly, it was like almost $207,000. So I said to myself, I probably won't do that this year just because it was such a huge spike in April. But my goal is to really average it out that I can do better instead of having that months where I do 30 and then only do 1 and do 3 is to bring that up. Now, I did in January $12,000, so I've already beat last year by $11,000. I'm a little bit down this month, and that's just because honestly I'm still selling things, but my average price of selling something is just lower. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm selling sometimes a lot of $10, $12 items, where back in January I was still selling some Christmas stuff that was $25, $30 related. So I'd be happy, honestly, if I could get it to a point where January through, let's say, October, I can do a steady amount, let's say 12, 14, and then have the spike in the holiday sales, and in other words, do about 180. And then for me, and I'm not sure if you do eBay or not, but I got to even focus on my eBay, because that would give me the opportunity there to create more cash flow, because when you're selling on Amazon, that's the part of the struggle. That was the struggle for me, is waiting 2 to 3 weeks for money. Mm-hmm. And because there were opportunities sometimes to buy things, but not having to close my business and go through cancer that I did. I didn't have access to any type of credit or capital to borrow on a temporary basis to fund that stuff. So I had to fund all that stuff. I don't know if they do. New sellers can do daily payouts.
I cannot do daily payouts right now, and I need to reapply for it. because when I applied for it back in December, they said it was because I still had this one IP complaint on my account that I was not qualified for a daily payout. But I just got that cleared up like 2 days ago. So I'm super excited about having that off. So I want to do the reapplication to see if they'll let me do daily payouts.
Right. I don't mind actually the 2 weeks, because what I worry about daily payouts sometimes is that you don't also you become a bad buyer because you're getting money in your pocket every day. You're like, I got to go out and source, where you're not really fully thinking about it. And do I really want to source every day? If you're going to source every day, in my opinion, it better be that you're doing a certain amount of volume. In other words, instead of doing $300, $400 a day, you should be doing $1,000, $1,200 a day, so that you're. And then I could even take, if I was doing 7,000 to 10,000 a week, I could take and source, let's say 2 or 3 days, and then focus on the other days on the customer service part. And I still do a lot of FBM. Now, in the past 2 days, I did send in 3 boxes of about 80 pounds of worth of stuff, because there's just some things, there's a couple of $7, $8 items that I sell that I make $1.50, $2 on, that I don't want the hassle of, I gotta get 17 of them out with the box and this and that, because it is a grocery item. A lot, obviously Amazon, my thinking is, I also worry that I lose some sales if I don't get some things in FBA, because like when you go buy your groceries, do you ever just go and buy one thing? No, you probably buy 15 things. And then if one of those things are like, oh, that's going to come from a third-party seller, you may have to wait. They may cancel or try to get it direct from Amazon, where it can all be thrown into one box to get it all. I don't know. I know which just reminded me, there's stuff that I ordered for my son in December, and we still haven't gotten.
Are you supposed to have gotten it? Because I've had a few things that say they were supposed to be here and they haven't been here.
Yeah, and actually, I just thought about it, because what happened is I ordered the kids some socks, underwear, and T-shirts and stuff like that. And my youngest son, they call him Big Red. Well, he's a big boy. He's about 300 pounds, 6'2", and so trying to find sometimes his size at the Walmart is not always so easy. So I buy certain things from Amazon just for convenience, even if it is a little. But there's actually, I had gotten 2 or 3 special shirts or something like that. They didn't come in yet. But that's my goal. My goal is to try to do, and I know dollar wise, people, that's not really the focus, because it's, I know sellers that can make a certain amount on 250 and make a certain amount on 500, and actually they both make the same amount. But my goal is to not be a one-hit wonder from last year. Not do 207 and drop this year to 40 because I just didn't get it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And getting my act together on eBay will actually help my Amazon store, because I think it will give me the cash flow that when certain opportunities do come up, like a store closes, that instead of going in and buying, let's say 1,000, maybe if this is good stuff, maybe if it's 7,000, I can go in and buy it, and get the whole, and have confidence in what I'm doing. So
it sounds like you're going to continue to do both eBay and Amazon. Are you going to do any other platforms?
No, I honestly probably just
YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, YouTube. YouTube, I'm actually doing more, because I have multiple channels. So it's easier to create more. I find I struggle to create content on this channel a lot. The reselling channel is because a lot of it's Amazon related, and when you get 100 of something like that let's say you're buying for $5 and selling for $15, and you're making $5, you don't want people coming along and giving it away for $9 and losing $1. The opportunity to travel again in the future and get out there and pick and do the cool stuff, the eBay stuff, like the unique baseball cards or the collectibles. the problem is I've put myself into a position right now that I do too much FBM, that I can't leave more than a week because no one else knows how to do this. I do it all myself. And my son, who has a full-time job working for a defense contractor, and my wife, who has a full-time job, they really can't help me with this. He knows eBay, but Amazon doesn't know it all. And there's certain things that people don't understand. You just don't throw in a box. You got to put in a bag. You got to wrap it in paper. That's one thing that I wasn't prepared for when we got busy. He's busting my chops because I found a warehouse with 500,000 VHS, and I got 12,000 of them. And
hold on, we're gonna have to circle back to that one. Okay, finish your thought, and then I want to hear about that.
What was I saying?
Supplies.
Oh, supplies. I'm sorry.
Yes. I think everybody had supply issues back.
Because I was like, okay, I can mail these in a bubble. I could do this, and all of a sudden you go from only needing, let's say, 1,000 boxes a year to needing 3,000 in 1 month. You're like, I was buying from multiple, and whoever could get it to me faster, but trying to be conscientious that. Because most boxes are 35 to 60 cents in that 10-inch, 7-inch area. Even the small 6x4x4 boxes, they're still 27 cents, 32 cents. And then can you do a bubble mail? Oh, if you do a bubble mailer, then having a bag to seal it in, and then was in love with bubble wrap, and then discovered actually through another friend who does eBay only, doesn't do Amazon, that he sells industrial like equipment and tools. He does not use bubble wrap at all. He uses the brown paper, which he fills the void. And you know what? It's also cheaper. I could get a 400-foot, 24-inch roll of brown paper for $50, and it would cost me that much for just a big, 100-foot of bubble wrap. So I really had to, now I got it down. I don't know if I did a video. I did a video about 6-7 weeks ago where I had to take a trip down to Uline, and I had to pack 300 boxes in my small SUV, and they just fit. And I could barely see. Like if the cop would have stopped me, I might have got a ticket for having some of the windows, If I could, Craig, if I could sell banana peels and make money doing it, I would.
Okay, so you bought 12.
Oh, here we go.
12,000 VHSs.
Well, here's the thing. I was, when you're learning and you're always looking for sourcing opportunities, you and you really want to take full-time reselling serious, you have to really think, okay, well now, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, storage units, retail arbitrage, what stuff do you got? So I started looking on Facebook Marketplace, and somebody had pallets of VHS movies, but you had to take 2 pallets. So I get there, and they only have about 5 or 6 different movies, but they have 500,000 of them. And the story is the guy used to be in the business and used to ship them and sell them overseas to Europe.
Okay.
Now, this is going back, 15, 20 years ago. VHS were still pretty much selling. Yeah, because DVDs really are pretty much in the last 20 years. And then when Netflix basically went live streaming, that pretty much killed Blockbuster, West Coast Video, all those type of. So I didn't pay nothing for the VHS. Nothing. I had to load them up, but I knew also when I was doing it that it was going to create, people would be like, oh wow, I found 500,000 movies. And I took pictures and I showed the warehouse that, obviously I wasn't faking it. And I recorded me loading them up. And I had to go with I actually went with our SUV, and I made 2 trips. So I loaded one and cases of them. I mean, cases and cases and cases. So I did. It cost me some gas and time, but I did sell some to what I did is I sold some to resellers that wanted to buy. And what I found that I could do if I sold a let's say I was going to sell a VCR for $25, I could get $35 if I threw 2 or 3 of those movies in there. Now I wound up selling I got those like 2 years ago, and I still probably have. I gave away some. I donated to Salvation Army. I donated to Goodwill. I did give away to some other resellers. The problem is shipping that case is about 8 to 10 pounds, and it cost about medium mail. I could ship that for roughly $15 to $18. So I could sell, if I sold them each for 60 cents, I could sell a case for 30. In a sense, I'd still make about $10. And I did sell some cases on eBay, and I did sell some with movies. The problem is there were other people that got them too at the same time. So there was still a lot of competition out there, and I wanted to pick them up because I wanted to really create, and it turned out to be, I probably had 1,500 to 1,800 views on that. Now, did I make any money? I don't think I did, because I think I had done it before I was monetized, or right when I was monetized. So it got me some watch time, but that was about it. But honestly, I do love VHS. I personally probably own myself over 400 VHS, because over the 30 years, when I was younger, I was buying them. I'd pick them up for $5. I wasn't paying no $30. And what I like about VHS is not everything is on Netflix. I mean, I always use like try to go watch an old Charles Bronson movie, or try to like back in the 80s they had Arnold Schwarzenegger Commando, and and some of those.
I've picked up a couple of sealed new DVD or VHSs at the Goodwills and whatnot, and sold them on Amazon before. But that's been years since I've done that. But there's still a little bit of demand there.
Yeah, there's. I mean, the demand is not like. I mean, not even the demand for DVDs is lost. You can pick them up for a lot of times $1 or $2, and a lot of people just sell them at the flea market because years ago it'd be $3 to $5 to rent a movie, and now you could find them for $1 or $2. So it's even hard to get $10 or $12 for a used one. Or Walmart has their bins for $5. Now, the VHS, if you can find the old wrestling from the 80s or horror movies, stuff that they didn't put on DVD, a lot of times those will still command a certain price. Splash Mountain ones that when they did the sing-along, Disney did the sing-along songs.
And Splash Mountain's getting a remake, so yeah.
Exactly. So you could buy those for 50 cents at the Goodwill or the Salvation Army and sell them for $10 or $15 a piece on eBay. So I sold some ones that were workout ones, like Tybo. Somebody had a VHS and maybe in their workout room, and they wanted to play it, and then you'd pick them up for 50 cents or $1. And I mean, I had honestly, one of the things that I was doing on one of my eBay pages, that if somebody donated movies to me or books, I was selling them and donating the money for breast cancer research.
Nice.
So yeah, I probably had 500 or 600 movies even given to me that raised a couple $100 because then I bundled them up together. When COVID I was selling a lot of movies, not VHS, but DVDs, because I was buying them by the pallet, and I was pretty much picking them up for around 75 cents and getting around $2.50, $3 a piece for them. Pre-used.
Yep. I remember not too long ago, but it's been definitely 10 years plus. We would always look for the older shows that my grandma grew up with, so that she could watch them on her TV in the
right
and wherever she lived at that time. But finding those older shows was difficult, so we were finding them on eBay.
Well, that's why I think Netflix really it for them, they sometimes don't want to pay maybe the fee for someone that wants to watch a movie of Arnold Schwarzenegger 30 years ago, the person that really wants to watch it is the person that grew up watching it, but they're just trying to create their own content and do things now for people that want to watch now, not reminisce. I guess I'm a little nostalgic and like, you know, that's, I mean, it was funny because for years I recorded David Letterman every day on VHS, and I fell in love with General Hospital one time when Luke and Laura were on, and we recorded probably 2 years worth of General Hospital. Now, actually, those are probably worth some money because people that are fans of General Hospital, they never came out and put, because they did an episode every day. You know, you get like Cheers that might have had 250 episodes over 12 years. I mean, you get a soap opera that had 250 episodes a year. Oh, yeah. So they never put those out. They would put, you know, like wedding special Luke and Laura, but they never put those out. So I've seen people buy pre-recorded those type of things at yard sales and sell them and get good money for them because, you know, somebody's a fan of it and wants to see it, and they can get more money than they can for, you know, movies because you're not finding that anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting idea. I mean, makes you think of different ways to sell things and ways to, you know, what people are looking for. And I definitely keep my ear to the ground on what people are looking for out there. I think there will be a Netflix type equivalent that comes out with those older things because I see a demand for it, whether it's the old wrestling or the old shows or the old sitcoms or whatever. You know, there is a niche for it, and they could probably get the film for it fairly cheap and the royalties and all of that for it. So I think we will see that in the future. Just
I think what happens, like with Netflix, they have a budget, let's say, of $9 billion a year, and they have to kind of think, what's the best way to do it? Do we create things like, for example, on Netflix, there's a show called Ozarks that they created. So from the standpoint of wanting that high subscriber retention, I think by creating their own new storylines and things like that, they're able to budget. That's why they don't want to buy something that maybe the audience might only be, let's say, 100,000 people versus 5 million people are watching Ozark. So
yeah, but I think that so take just an older whatever show that you want, even popular old baseball games or World Series or things like that you could probably find on YouTube now, or maybe some chopped up bit on the internet. If you had a nice quality running of it, it probably wouldn't be as expensive as running a brand new show from the start. You think of all the money they dump into the actors, into the budget, and all of that budget. If you had a company that just went after popular things that were at least 15 years old, we'll say, I think there's a market for it.
I do too. Now they do. I don't know if you have Netflix or Amazon. What they do is, I have them both too, is sometimes, like I use Charles Bronson. Let's say you want to watch Death Wish. They'll make it available. It was a movie that I thought of that I've watched, and
you're looking at me and thinking of that movie. I'm just a little concerned.
No. He was a vigilante. If you sometimes, like, they'll maybe have that movie on twice in a year, but then the other times it's $2.99 to rent.
Yeah.
So they kind of do it that if you really want to watch it, you're just going to pay the fee to rent. And
maybe that's what it needs to be, a blockbuster that's just all digital with everything out there. Because I'll sometimes say, oh, okay, I want to watch something or whatnot, and then I try to go find it, and sometimes I can get it, sometimes I can't get it. But do you have the app Just Watch on your phone?
No, I have. No, I don't really watch shows from my phone.
No. It's not that. It tells you where a show you can buy it at or stream it. So like you type in the show name and it will say, okay, this is available on iTunes and Amazon and Netflix, and it's free on these services, or it's available for purchase here, and it tells you the prices too. I tell you, that's a lifesaver, because I go to, you'll be talking to a friend or a family member and they'll say, oh, have you seen this show? And then I want to go and look it up later and see how I can how I can get it, because I now have, I think we have Disney, Netflix, and Amazon, but I can't remember everything and where everything is. And now the shows have apps of their own, CBS or NBC, they all have their own apps too. So it gets confusing. Anyhow, Just Watch is a really great app.
I'll check it out.
You
Just
can
watch.
search it and find out where it is. Because sometimes we'll see it and it's like, whatever, $5 on Amazon, but we find out it's on Netflix.
Well, The Sopranos used to be on Amazon, and then for years now it's off, and I guess you got to get the HBO and so I think they paid the rights for so many years, and again the budget. But I have them all on DVD, and I'm a repetitive person. I mean, I will pop them in, and I can lay in bed without looking at the screen, and I know because I've watched them at least 30 times that I could tell you exactly, what's happening and stuff. And I sometimes will listen to it as I fall asleep.
Silver hair, and this will be the last question because I do have to get dinner made tonight for the kids.
Yeah, I'm participating in a charity auction.
Oh, yes, we'll bring that up right after this. Silver hair says he bought some silver, stupid expensive, but gotta save some money. Okay, well, good. I don't know what's up as we're getting ready to wrap things up here, but welcome anyways. And buying silver. Is it better to buy silver right now or gold? What's the better buy?
Well, silver is obviously from a price point is around 27, and gold is, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, at least usually $1,200. So it's all, what you can afford to spend for an ounce. Or, there are some people that really, as part of their portfolio, like to have a mixture of all of it. Yeah. Now, Todd does it, silver-haired stacker. He buys silver, gold, and watches and stuff. So I'm not really into it. I do have some silver myself, just because they're over 100 years old of coins, and they're not making them no more. And I just think the storytelling of it. Years ago, when I sold stuff on eBay as a part-time seller, I took some of the profits and bought, silver dollars, Morgan dollars that were like 110, 120 years old. And, I've hung on to them.
Nice. Yeah, I have some silver dollars somewhere around here too. And I don't know. I like gold. I'm going to be watching the radium way up. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I saw on CNBC, I think today or yesterday, plutonium was like at levels that it hadn't seen since 2015. So about 6 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm getting a metal detector from my mom soon, so I tell her I'm going to go metal detecting and make it rich.
Are you going to make videos?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that interesting. I think it's going to be a whole lot of trash finding. Honestly,
if you're good at storytelling, boy, that's what some people they'll find one ring at $15, but they turn it into a 20-minute video, and they hit gold. I guess you'd say.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. I got to pick it up, and I'll probably have my metal detector right around April, so it'll be a good time to go out. And
good luck searching.
With it. If it works. All right, I've got to get going, and so do you. Go ahead and tell us about the charity event, though, first.
Okay, well, I participate in usually once a month an auction with Donatella Bodolino and T Auctions for You. And we have a mutual friend, Robin, because she's shed. She does like videos and stuff for other people. She's done some reselling, and she does a sock puppet. Well, anyways, I guess she had an aneurysm, and she's in the hospital, and she's not working right now. So the community's just coming together and doing the auction. And I'll put the link in here if anybody wants to check it out. I'm going to be over there in the next hour, and they're doing like an 8-hour charity auction where people just donate things, and we pay for the shipping, and people buy things from us, and all the money is going to help her. And I've participated probably in 5 or 6. So we've helped viewers, other YouTubers, and in the last 18 months. And it's a nice way to kind of give back, and really YouTube has become sort of like your second family and part of the community. So it's just nice to give back, and because honestly, there's things I should probably be doing more on a local level, but I don't. So I like to choose who I give to and different things like that. That I'll be. So after this, I've had a busy day. I'll be going over there and participating in that. So, Lucy, I do appreciate you having me on the show. And
Yes, thank you for coming.
yeah, it's always nice to network and just kind of talk shop and get ideas and just get feedback and stuff and knowing that there's don't give up and just keep plugging along and I like to see I have goals and I like to see myself 5 years down the road where this is really that I'm making I don't need to get rich, but it's a salary that I can say wow, that I'm glad I'm doing this and that I'm not scratching some days.
Well, it is nice to have other people that you can connect with and also ask questions or hit up or just anything or even vent to once in a while, when you have those bad customers. I have plugged your YouTube channel again down in the chat, and it's also down in the description. So everybody check him out and make sure you subscribe to Pat Dees. All right. Take care, everyone, and go check out the fundraiser event as well. Give them some love. I've already popped it on and given them a thumbs up. And you know what? You may not need to watch the whole thing, but those thumbs ups do help everybody. So thank you. And everybody have a great day.